What is it about this case that has captured the nation for decades now in such a way that there are fairly regular reports on the case to this day? There are fairly regular documentaries and there are fairly regular books that are released. In fact, there is another book set for release in February from an Australian publishing house. Now, one of the things that I see quite often in comments, especially when the last book was released and there were lots of comments on media posts by newspapers about the accuracy of the book's contents, and a lot of people were saying, you know, just leave it alone now, we've heard enough about this, you know, what about the victims' families? And I totally understand that. In fact, I feel quite deeply about that. And I will say, I always said that I won't say anything about the communications between me and Rose, or Jennifer as she's called now. But one thing that I did say to her when, you know, her concern was about her family's privacy and, you know, just people being left alone, not hounded anymore. And that would be fine. I would like for that to be able to happen, for them innocent people who didn't do any wrongs to be left in peace, for the family members to be able to just, well, get on with their lives. But that is impossible because it makes too much money for too many people. It's almost become like, at some point it's going to be like the myth of King Arthur, and it's wrong. It was a terrible stain on history. It said an awful lot about our own services in this country and about society, how he was able to get away with them kinds of crimes, and how, you know, as a family they were able to get away with crimes against many young girls, because, you know, there's Fred and Rose, but we know there were other people involved in certain aspects of the crimes as well. So whilst it might seem rich for me to be making these videos but then also complaining about how it's still in public consciousness so much, I want it to be in the right way, not made into this horror story that it seems to have become for entertainment, you know, rather than for what I think it should be, which is learning to spot the potential crimes happening again. But that just doesn't seem to be the way that it is going. The new book that's coming out in February is going to be a memoir about somebody who says that she, well, lived there for, the title is My Time Living with Fred and Rose West, My Year of Living with Fred and Rose West, A Nightmare on Cromwell Street. Now, I've done my research. I found that this person, whose maiden name is different to what her name is now, she does have links to the area. Indeed, she has links to the house and one of the lodges. In fact, her information is in a newspaper report by one of the lodgers, and it's completely different to what this book, while the title and the blurb of the book is claiming. Now, I have to hold judgment until the book is fully released. I have contacted the publishers with my concerns and they've been very receptive, very nice, and I feel quite bad actually, because it's 10 days away from release and I'm sure a lot of money's been sunk into this project, because, you know, the way that it's marketed, much with the last book, when you've put Fred or Rose's name on it, or Cromwell Street, you know it's going to sell. But is it right that it's selling? And I think time's going to tell over the next couple of weeks.